What's going on, guys? It's MurderInc. Welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today I would like to do a champion spotlight video on Tyrant Ixlimor. He is a demon spawn HP legendary, fantastic champion. A quick look at his model. His face looks a little scuffed up, but the rest of his model looks pretty damn good. Getting right into his skills, attacks one enemy, heals his champion by 25% of the damage inflicted. Heals his champion by 50% of the damage inflicted if the target is under an HP burn. Damage is based on defense. Another interesting relationship between defense and HP roll champions. I'm not really sure how they came up with this process when they did this, but I don't think this is a terrible thing, because if someone has a high base health and you want to base their attacks off of defense, it really takes stress off of you having to build health in the end. So it would be ideal to have a defense champion with defense attacks. Obviously, you get damage from defense, survivability, all of that's great, but with a champion like this, I don't think that's a huge problem. Moving on to the A2. The A2 is Hellfire Torment. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing an HP burn debuff on all enemies for 3 turns. This is a 3-turn cooldown, goes up to a 100% chance when fully booked. Great skill. We're going to go over where this shines, and I'm sure you guys already know from just hearing it. The A3 is Infernal Minions. This is a 3-turn cooldown. Once it is booked, places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except for this champion for 2 turns. Places a 60% increased debuff on all allies for 2 turns. Now, hello clan boss. Before we get into that, I'm really excited. I'm always jumping to things. Let's get into the passive. Decreases damage inflicted by enemies under HP burn debuffs by 10%. And lastly, increases ally health in all battles by 25%. Now, back to being really excited. This champion is the jack of all trades. Haven't seen him a lot until, I want to say, the past month. He's been so good for so long. His A3, incredible. He does a ton of healing, and his multipliers are actually very, very high. So he can get away without lifesteal gear in any content. And he has a 3-turn cooldown, and we all know that 3-turn cooldowns are extremely strong on the clan boss. The only thing that isn't great about this, we have to compare this to Skull Crusher. Skull Crusher does have an unkillable buff. That means that it is very likely that this champion dies if you use his A3 on the first AoE, because he's just going to be taking an absolute beating for the first 2 AoEs of the clan boss, and eventually he's going to die, and that will be the wipe condition for your run. There are ways to go over that, and we'll get into that more when I start talking about solely clan boss. Let's talk about how I geared him. I gave him 2 sets of immortal gear and 1 set of speed gear. Total stats I gave him are 54,000 health, 5,000 defense, 174 speed, 100% crit rate, 148 crit damage, 236 accuracy. Taking a look at his base stats, he has 21.9 thousand health, getting back to the HP based champion. Very solid amount of health, really helps you when building stats for this champion. Even taking a look at his defense, 1,343. Not crazy defense, not low defense. I think this is a perfect spot for a champion. In speed, we have 103. Anything over 100 is 2 thumbs up for me. That rhymed. I'm literally Dr. Seuss this morning. It's okay. Getting on to the masteries that I gave him, I put him in your typical Ultra Nightmare clan boss masteries. Nothing special here. We have War Master, Methodical. That should be all that's out of the field of view. So really quickly, let's talk about clan boss. What can this guy do for you in your clan boss team? Giving him a solid amount of health, very high defense if possible. 100% crit rate is mandatory for this guy, and you don't have to go crazy with crit damage. I found out that his damage is very high off the bat. If you would like to go 200% and you can still keep 50,000 health, 5,000 defense, if you are endgame, go for it. Those are really hard stats to achieve, so I don't think you have to go too crazy on that spectrum. A lot of his damage does come from the HP burn, since if you don't know, HP burn does 75,000 damage per turn as opposed to a poison's 50,000. The only downside is you can only have 1 stack on the boss at any given moment. So we have a 3-turn cooldown with a 3-turn duration, which means HP burn will be on the boss for the entire clan boss fight. Now the one side to Tyrant's kit, like many other champions, is on auto he will not use this ability under, I believe it's 70% health on the clan boss. Why it works this way, I have no idea. I've looked at the tooltips. There's nothing that suggests anything. It's just an error. I am going to submit this and hopefully they will take a look at it and fix it. The other strong ability, as mentioned before, is his A3. We have another 3-turn cooldown, which is perfect for clan boss, which provides an ally protection and an increased defense. So this is a champion who can really help your team if you don't have a counterattack. Usually people who don't have a counterattack run a speed team. If you elect not to run a speed team and you want to tune it where everyone's in line with the clan boss, that is actually a perfectly fine option for you to do. If you were going to run this guy in a counterattack situation, this is how I would personally recommend that you run him. I would use his A3 just before the stun phase. So you have an ally protection for the stun, and then you have an ally protection for the first AoE. So he has the option for 2 turns, unless he's getting stunned himself, to heal up. In my opinion, this is the best way to use him. If you do have a counterattack like Valkyrie or Martyr, I think it's really strong and it allows you to have defense up with Martyr, for example, for 100% of the fight. Valkyrie, it takes stress off of Valk's shield, even though it's big, which lets the shield survive for longer, and in return, it allows your team to survive for longer. With Skull Crusher, it's a bit more difficult. For Skull Crusher, I would recommend Skull Crusher uses his counterattack on the first, so he takes the shared damage from the first hit. And on the second AoE, I recommend having Tyrant use his ally protection, overriding the shared damage from Skull Crusher now that he no longer has the unkillable buff on him. A very common wipe condition for a Skull Crusher is him not being able to fully heal up after the first AoE with a mastery proc or just a raw crit, and in return he dies early from that. You just hate to see it. As I said before, 100% crit is definitely a necessity for this champion, so he doesn't have to run lifesteal gear. I did give him immortal gear. I highly recommend, if you have immortal, throw it on him just to be very, very safe as far as him full healing each turn. And now to get into some gameplay, I would like to show you Tyrant in a full auto Spider 20 team. Now Tyrant can be very good in many dungeons as long as his affinity isn't negative. Even if it is negative, he does have a chance to weak hit, but the HP burn is still a powerful tool. So let's take a look at this full auto Spider 20 run. We have Lysandra, Tyrant. I chose to throw in Gergo in here just to CC and make the run a bit quicker. We see the 3-turn AoE going out. Of course, we have our favorite champion, Dracomorph, as well as a Cold Heart, just to pop this off and make it a bit quicker. If you build enough turn meter reduction and you build enough survivability, you can strictly run Tyrant, 2 turn meter altering champions, and 2 survivability champions like a Man-Eater, Tower, whatever works for you. As we can see here, we have 39-second full auto. This team is 100% success. If Dracomorph gets resisted on his defense down, his weaken, or both, that should happen to you. This will still win 100% of the time. It will just be about 45 seconds longer. I'm pretty sure the best time I've seen from this run is 31 seconds, which is fantastic for an HP burn champion. So on top of being an absolute monster in dungeons where the affinity does help him out, he is also a very powerful tool in faction wars. As you can probably guess from his kit, the survivability and damage that he offers is just incredible. Since he has an AoE HP burn, he can be used in arena with a champion like Norman, since there is synergy there. Also, he can help you even against Rhodos with his ally protection. This can prevent someone from getting one shot on your team, which is very strong and can be a win condition for you. Alright guys, as always, thanks a ton for watching. Really like this champion, enjoyed making this video. My plans for our next video will be a Great Hall guide, what to do, what not to do, advice from me as far as where you should be focusing your points. I've noticed that now that I've been doing account takeovers, that a lot of people for some reason are going the same route on their Great Hall, and it is not beneficial for them. They will find that as soon as they hit the mid-game level to end-game level, they will really decrease from their potential. So I really think it's important that I go over and make an in-depth Great Hall guide. I haven't seen any out yet so far, so I'm not really sure where people are getting the information from as far as what's guiding them to make these decisions on where to put points and where not to put points. So hopefully you're excited about that. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you have any other ideas for videos? Outside of the Great Hall video, I do have a showcase of Sifi in the clan boss, which I'm really excited to show you guys. It is a nightmare clan boss video. It is using a Turvold and it is absolutely insane. Let me know what you think. What do you want to see? And until next time, my friends, peace out.